Hello everyone and welcome back. Today I have a little something special for you. This is a build I've been putting off for some time and I think I'm finally ready to do it. And anyone I've told them that this is going to be my Punisher themed build. Now, unfortunately, here I don't have the means to do a fully modded case, but there are going to be some highlights that I think are really going to stand out. Now, as you know, I typically do an unboxing with a new computer case, and then in the next video I do the build. But because today we're using a used case and some used parts, that's really not the feel of what I'm going for. I'm going for the complete build and what it is that we're actually putting together. Speaking of, let me give you a quick rundown. The case I love. This is the Corsair Vengeance C70. When these were in production, there were 3 different types: black, green, and white. And as you can see, we have the black one here. Aside from being very sturdy and functional, this case is actually built to look like an ammo can. It even has these collapsible handles here. So if you're still doing LAN parties, this is the perfect case for you. But it's tough, rugged, has clips on the sides to release, and I'll show you the buttons later, but even those look cool. So already we have this all-black, military-themed case. Perfect if the Punisher ever wanted a game. As for the motherboard, because we're going with a specific aesthetic, I went with the Asus Sabertooth Z87. Overall, not a bad motherboard, but more importantly, it's armored and matches the look we're going for. They even put a plate on the back for some reason, which I'm sure makes sense. We're going with 32 gigs of DDR3 RAM. These are actually from EVGA. They're the Super SC. I believe they're 2400 megahertz, CL11 or 13, CL11. And of course, the best processor of the generation, the i7 4790K. Now, to keep that king of processors cool, we're going liquid cooled with Cooler Master Liquid Light 240 millimeter. Power supply, 600 watt from AVG. For the GPU, we're going with Gigabyte's Wind Force. This is a 3-fan GTX 970 with the backplate. Now if you notice, black and armored is the theme of this build. There are no M.2 slots on this board. So we're going with 240 gig SSD from Crucial as our boot drive. And then for our games, of which there will be many, this is my tried and true go-to, the 2 terabyte Seagate Barracuda. Yes, it is aging tech, but tell me where you can buy something new that's 2 terabytes for about 45 bucks plus tax. Now the Punisher is not into RGB. He has one white skull right here. So we want to illuminate everything we've put in this case with our white light Corsair fans and some white light RGB strips that I picked up. This will be subtle, but will make everything clear inside. Now what is it specifically that will make this a Punisher build? Well, here's what I have. I'll show you this in more detail as the build comes together. But we have a Punisher logo. This is going to go right on the front of the case below the power buttons. We have his key phrase in Latin: if you want peace, prepare for war. Although I'm pretty sure he got that from the Marines, which co-opted that from the Romans. And last but not least, we have 2 decals. I have not decided which one I want to use. We have the black skull on silver and the silver skull on black, kind of leaning towards the latter. And this is going to go right on the pump of our liquid cooler. So as you peer inside, you see that reflection staring back at you. All right, that's enough talk. Let's get to building. I have made a serious mess, but I think it's done. So aside from all the shrapnel everywhere, let's get in and take a closer look. So starting out here at the bottom of the case, I think that looks fantastic. If you do want peace, prepare for war. Let's spin around to the front here. Now this is the part of the case that you didn't get to see before. So the buttons up here are pretty awesome. Oh, don't worry about that. We'll get to that one later. Here's your power button. Your reset button is under one of those little switches. And then we have our Punisher logo right across the front here. We have white lights under here. And then as we go into the computer, look at this. So I really do like the look of the hoses coming down here. The cables up top aren't too bad. We only have one inlet or outlet, depending on which way they're going. So we couldn't route things straight back. We had to run them a little bit. But the way the RAM stacks up, the way we have the skull, the white light that's going to be coming off of here, we also have the LED strips up here and down here that are positioned to shine light into the case. So we'll have some light from the fans coming in this direction, here, here, and here, illuminating the armor and our skull. I think the wind force lights up too. We're gonna see how that looks. We might disable it if we don't like it. So we need to fire this up, get Windows installed, and see what it looks like. Montage complete. Now you don't need the camera focused on me while we have this sitting in front of us. First of all, it's not connected, but here is our panel. I think the writing turned out great. And on camera, at least the little screen that I have here, the white light looks a little washed out. I have to say, in person, it looks amazing. In the case, from what I see, it's more subtle and does a great job illuminating all the key parts. And we achieve this by having our two fans up front, this fan here, light strip here and here. The black hoses for our liquid cooler look amazing, and the fully populated RAM slots are awesome. I don't think this look would have been possible without our armored motherboard. This thing turned out amazing, but it's not just the look we're going for. The question we have to ask is, how does it perform? All right, everyone, so we've had the system running for a few minutes with the panel on. So the results we're going to see is if your computer case was set up normal and you're just playing games. Per usual, we are running the latest versions of both Furmark and Cinebench R23, and we are going to run them simultaneously to see how stable the usage is and what our max temps are. And the graphs we have pulled up on MSI Afterburner are GPU temp, GPU usage, CPU temp, CPU usage, and RAM usage. Let's fire them up. We're just about 2 minutes into testing now, and as you can see from the graphs, GPU usage and CPU usage are maxed out, which is fantastic. It shows that the performance is stable and we're not getting any weird dips. We can also see for GPU temps and CPU temps that yes, while the temps are still rising, we've only had it running for a couple minutes now. There are no weird spikes, and they're all on this gradual incline, which usually is a good show of stability and fan curves. All right, we are at the 5-minute mark now. Performance still looks very stable. I do want to remind you that any dips you see in the CPU usage is just Cinebench restarting. Firm mark just goes on and on and on. And while it looks like CPU temp is still climbing a little, it's still in the low 60s, and it looks like our GPU is starting to level out at 73. We'll come back and take a look and see how those are doing. We are 8 minutes in, and it looks like our GPU temp has not gone above 74. Meanwhile, our CPU seems to be bouncing back and forth between 63 and 65. And just a reminder, that is a 4790K on a liquid cooler. As we approach the 10-minute mark, GPU usage and CPU usage has remained stable throughout the entire test. At the same time, GPU temp has remained actually very stable and never once gone above 75. CPU temp has also never gone above 65 as well. Of course, these are all in Celsius. Stable performance, stable temps, through and through this 10-minute test. Meanwhile, the fans on our case are audible, but not annoying. I think we can call this a win. My friends, it has been a pleasure, but this brings us to the end of another build. I do these for fun, I enjoy the process, and I really like the finished product. And I really appreciate it when people like you come on that journey with me. So if you've done this before with me, thank you for subscribing. And if this is your first time here, welcome. Consider subscribing. I've got more of these coming up, and I'm trying to get them out on a more consecutive basis. It's hard sometimes working a full-time job and having a wife and kid. They're fantastic, and they support the time that I put into endeavors like this. But I won't keep you any longer. I'll see you in the next one soon. Bye.